On AM on 1520. David Payne now joins us. David, what do you see?
Dan, I'm about 2 miles north and east of Newcastle. The power just went off in Newcastle. Quarter to a half-mile wide tornado. Unbelievable. F4, F5. Again, people don't need to look at these pictures. They need to take cover immediately.
Residents in central Oklahoma are in shock.
Dangerous situation.
Look at all the debris. Look at all the debris in the air. Folks, please, we plead with you. You absolutely.
In the span of 24 hours, 36 people are dead and over 580 are injured in one of the most violent tornado outbreaks ever recorded in Oklahoma's history.
Get to the lowest level you possibly can.
The most violent storm of the day, known as Storm A, went on to produce the infamous F5 tornado that wreaked havoc on the towns of Bridge Creek, Oklahoma City, and more.
We plead with you, do not take the extra minute or two. We plead with you to get below ground, get in the interior closet or bathroom, get in the bathtub. We plead with you. There it is, crossing Interstate 35.
71 tornadoes reached the earth across portions of Kansas and Oklahoma that evening, leaving absolute devastation in their wake.
Debris everywhere, several multi-vortex tornadoes rotating around that.
With wind speeds recorded over 300 miles per hour, the massive, nearly mile-wide tornado laid portions of central Oklahoma to waste. Homes were destroyed, schools were leveled, and places simply vanished like they never even existed.
104.1.
Oh my God! You got to look at this. This is phenomenal. It's gone. The neighborhood is gone. It's gone. It's level. There's nothing here. I mean, there must be 350 homes, Mike, that are gone. It's just foundations and rubble.
Despite the violence of the May 3rd event, this wasn't the first time the city of Moore had experienced a significant tornado. Since records began in the late 1800s, Moore has been hit on almost a dozen occasions. And again, on another muggy afternoon in May, the skies are boiling over Moore. From the historic tornado outbreak on May 3rd, 1999 to the El Reno Piedmont EF5 in 2011, central Oklahoma is essentially the violent tornado capital of the world. Yet somehow, May in 2013 is oddly quiet. However, if you know the history of Oklahoma's odd relationship with severe weather, you'd know that a lack of it usually wasn't a good sign. The conditions that would soon produce the Moore tornado would begin to come together nearly a week prior. The Storm Prediction Center, or SPC, releases their 4 through 8 day outlook, mentioning that medium-range weather models highlighted mutual agreement on a multi-day severe weather event, specifically mentioning a, quote, substantial severe weather potential from May 19th through the 20th. A large, slow-moving trough would push east across the Rockies over the next few days, and each day would evolve with more and more extensive severe weather. No one knew it at the time, but one of the most violent tornadoes in Oklahoma history was only days away.
Nice, F5 all over it, written all over it.
The May outbreak sequence would kick off on May 17th, with 3 areas being highlighted by the Storm Prediction Center as slight risk, each with a 2% risk of tornadoes. As the trough progressed eastward, a dry line was noted in Texas, as well as a weak upper low in the mid-Mississippi Valley. Though the forecast of scattered severe storms paled in comparison to the next 72 hours, 7 tornadoes would still reach the earth on the 17th from Minnesota to Alabama. 2 tornadoes touched down outside of Eliasville, Texas, 1 EF0 and 1 EF1.
Oh, check it out. Oh, yeah. Vortex breakdown.
Another EF0 tornado occurred in Nebraska, 2 EF0s dropped in southwest Minnesota, and another 2 just to the west of Huntsville, Alabama. As slow as this day would be, it was only a precursor to how deadly this storm system would become. The marathon week of severe weather would truly begin on May 18th. A lead shortwave trough barreling into central Kansas and Oklahoma, coupled with sufficient deep layer shear and Gulf moisture pulling northward, would warrant a 4 out of 5 moderate risk over the plains, along with a 10% hatched risk of significant tornadoes. Diabatic heating would eventually weaken an initially stout EML, the lid, holding storms back from exploding upwards into the upper atmosphere. Along with the threat of significant tornadoes, the risk of significant hail and straight-line winds would quickly dominate discrete supercells. Just before 3 p.m., a tornado watch was issued for portions of western Nebraska, Kansas, and Colorado. Tornadoes were not expected to be the main threat, but forecasters predicted the low-level jet, along with improving conditions throughout the afternoon, would eventually host a threat for rotating supercells. And around 7 p.m., a storm finally initiated northeast of Dodge City, Kansas, and soon, a large tornado was on the ground and tracking northeast.
Oh yeah, full condensation. Full condensation.
It was over a half-mile wide and continued steadily until it occluded less than a mile from the town of Roselle, Kansas. A mobile Doppler radar truck was positioned nearby and measured winds between 165 to 185 miles an hour. A National Weather Service employee stated that had it not occluded at the last possible moment, the town would have likely been completely destroyed. 10 tornadoes touched down on May 18th, but the main event of the day had initiated from that lone Kansas supercell. The plains were waking up. May 19th came out of the gate swinging with 550 severe weather reports, 34 alone being tornado related. Unlike the past 2 days, supercells had no problem firing, maturing, and becoming rapid tornado producers as they erupted off the dry line near the I-44 corridor. A tornado outbreak was underway, and one of the main ones of the day was already down, the Kearney tornado. The tornado touched down at 3:41 p.m., leaving a 21-mile-long damage path over half a mile wide, which tracked several miles through Oklahoma, Logan, and Lincoln counties, injuring 4. Luckily, there were no fatalities. This tornado was witnessed by dozens of storm chasers and received a maximum rating of EF3, though it is widely believed that it was much stronger than its official rating. A tornado touched down just east of downtown Norman and quickly began tracking northeast. After crossing Lake Thunderbird, it rapidly intensified as it entered a Steelman Estates mobile home park, which unfortunately lied directly in the tornado's path. 2 men, 79-year-old Glenn Irish and 76-year-old Billy Hutchinson, tragically perished as the violent tornado tore through the park, inflicting EF4 damage to a nearby home, wiping it clean off its foundation. A secondary area of EF4 damage was inflicted to a hardwood tree, which was completely debarked, with only the largest branches remaining. After impacting a neighborhood along East Indian Hills Road, it tracked northeast before roping out just north of Interstate 40. What's known as the Shawnee tornado received a rating of EF4 with winds of 190 miles an hour. It was on the ground for nearly an hour, tracked over 20 miles, and leveled dozens of homes, tragically killing 2 people and injuring 10 others. May 19th was a big day. While chaos was erupting in central Oklahoma, the Storm Prediction Center had quietly been looking 24 hours into the future as environmental conditions for May 20th continued to evolve. Nobody in the state of Oklahoma realized it at the time, but a major disaster was only hours away. May 20th started out unstable, with the same upper-level trough continuing eastward towards the central U.S. Elevated instability with large hodographs were already present, with large surface obs noting rich moisture in the low level streaming northward, going from only mid-60s by 7 a.m. to already low 70s by 2 p.m. To add to this, a cold front was situated over southeastern Kansas, draping down into west central to southwest Oklahoma, intersecting with the dry line bulge southwest of Oklahoma City. The target area was obvious, and with these ingredients in place, the Storm Prediction Center issued a 4 out of 5 moderate risk, with a 10% significant tornado risk and a whopping 45 hatched for hail. With the quickly eroding cap, a classic loaded gun environment was in place over Oklahoma City, with the highest potential just to the west-southwest of the metro. Everything was in place for a violent tornado to take place, and time was ticking until the fuse was ignited. By 2 p.m., it was quickly evident that the environment was ripe and primed for severe weather, though the possibility of tornadoes were starting to be in question. Several storms had fired by now, but it was obvious that they were struggling, big time. The lack of wind shear was noticeably holding storms back, allowing for a quick maturity, but essentially creating a bottleneck as Supercell struggled to tilt vorticity into the vertical and produce a tornado. While storms hadn't yet matured in the tornado department, hail production, on the other hand, was exponential. In fact, there were over 120 hail reports on May 20th, the highest recorded of baseball-sized hail over 4 inches in diameter.
Oh my god, dude!
Most chasers didn't know it at the time, but most storms were just not going to get things done. 2 blips, though, just to the southwest of Oklahoma City, were about to produce something different. A few showers quickly formed ahead of the triple point near Bridge Creek, Oklahoma, the southern one much more organized. Another storm fired just west of the maturing Hook Echo, and then another in the flanking line behind it. Dozens of storm chasers, news networks, and the National Weather Service now had their eyes trained on the storms quickly approaching more.
This has the potential of producing a long-track tornado, potentially violent tornadoes. Please don't take it lightly. Go to your safe spot.
Nobody had realized it at the time, but the cells just to the southwest of the metro were the puzzle pieces sliding into place for the Moore supercell. Right around the time these mergers occurred, an extremely localized area of flowing air, known as a jet streak, began passing over the area, firing off smaller cells surrounding the Moore storm, the same cells that had begun merging with the Hook Echo. This jet streak was the final piece. These storm mergers began what was a significant surge of the rear flank downdraft, which ramped up this supercell's tornadic potential exponentially, wrapping behind the backside of the hook and quickly tightening its rotation. These mergers also helped ingest more vorticity, or spin, in the atmosphere, which in this case supercharged its tornadic potential. The atmospheric ingredients most storms were unable to take advantage of, the Moore storm had managed to harness in only an hour. Time was up for Moore, Oklahoma.
This is a severe weather statement. The tornado warning remains in effect until 3:45 for northwestern McLean, southern Oklahoma area.
Storm chaser Charles Cook, located less than a mile from the rotating wall cloud, began filming in the Capital Group parking lot in northern Newcastle. And within seconds of Cook's video beginning, the tornado makes contact with the earth. Sirens blared through the streets as several intermittent vortices danced in the field in front of him. The tornado's track began slowly, inflicting EF1 damage to a home and some trees before traversing across Highway 37. Suddenly, as if out of nowhere, the tornado rapidly intensified right as it entered into the Country Club Estates subdivision, destroying several homes, 2 of which were completely leveled at EF4 intensity. The tornado had been on the ground for less than 5 minutes and had already caused EF4 damage, and this was only the beginning of the 39 minutes of hell it would inflict on the Oklahoma City metro. Located just to the southeast of Charles Cook was another storm chaser, Charles Cantwell, who was filming the Moore tornado mature and intensify. It had quickly grown into a stovepipe, and with the debris it had just picked up, had morphed it into a murky barrel.
I'm filming that some. I'm right here next to it, man. I have got some awesome video. You're gonna have to see this. Holy crap, that is a monster.
Back at the National Weather Service office, warning operators and forecasters were rapidly working to inform the media of the approaching tornado. A camera crew just so happened to be documenting the office on that day and documented the warning ops personnel as they issued a
This is a tornado emergency for Moore in South Oklahoma City at 3:08 p.m. Central Daylight Time. National Weather Service meteorologists and storm spotters were tracking a large and extremely dangerous tornado located 4 miles west of Moore. This is an extremely dangerous and life-threatening situation.
At the same time, Newcastle Police Chief Gary Norman was positioned just west of Charles Cantwell, watching as the tornado closed in on Interstate 44. Heavy RFD battered his patrol vehicle as the tornado crossed directly in front of him. continued to strengthen at this point, crossing the Canadian River into Cleveland County. A portion of the decommissioned I-44 bridge, US 277, had two sections ripped off of its concrete mounts and slammed against the I-44 highway. At the same time the tornado is crossing I-44, Charles Cantwell is temporarily blocked by a large police presence as they cautiously advance just south of the now wedged tornado.
Get so scared.
This could be another May 3rd.
Really?
I tell you, this is a big, bad tornado. Just like yesterday, giant wedge.
Meanwhile, meteorologist Gabe Garfield is advancing north with a group of other storm chasers, trying to gain a visual on the tornado after targeting the afternoon's earlier supercells. They take exit 112 on I-35 and turn west on Tecumseh Road, gaining their first visual of the wedge tornado at approximately 3:05 p.m. It's hazy, but there is evidently a large, violent tornado ongoing just 5 miles to its west-northwest.
David, you're very
Left edge of it.
Tornado.
You can see the
I'll get him on there. Southwest
Oh, man.
49th.
Can't see it. Is that over there?
I think so.
Yes.
Off to the north.
Oh, wow.
That's huge.
Okay. We're checking storm action 6.
Around him in time. It's gonna be 2 and 2.
Or Southwest Oklahoma.
We'll get around him. Don't worry. We'll get around. Oh, there it is. Whoa! Oh, that's big. That is really big. Okay, I got it.
Around the Moore area, points on to the north end. As we come around here, we're getting a little bit more.
Oh my God, that's huge.
I think we can go to another.
That is huge. Oh no.
The situation at this time had become extremely dire. All three major news networks in the Oklahoma City area had been continuously streaming live as the tornado rapidly formed and matured, and its future track hosted eerily similar memories of a past tornado only 14 years prior.
Folks, this is essentially, you never want to say it, but we're going to say it right now. This is May 3rd all over again as far as the intensity of this tornado, where it is heading. It is shrouded in debris, and it's a low wedge shrouded in debris. It's still on the ground back up.
The now wedge tornado continued to progress east-northeast towards Moore, inflicting more EF4 damage near South May Avenue as it tracked along 149th Street. Several homes were leveled, including one that was completely swept off its foundation. One vehicle was completely shredded and flung into a nearby grove of trees, leaving up the question on if the destroyed engine was even related to the smashed cars nearby. Tornado briefly weakened back to EF3 strength before rapidly strengthening. The next property to fall victim to the wedge tornado would be an oil production site. It was completely destroyed almost instantly, with 4 heavy oil tanks being completely blown away, 3 of which were thrown significant distances. The 4th was never found. The violent tornado now closed in on the Orr family farm and the Celestial Acres horse training properties, where arguably some of the worst damage of its track occurred. The entire property was ripped apart with vicious force, with several buildings being completely destroyed at EF4 intensity. A 10-ton oil tank was picked up and lofted over half a mile, and a nearby strip mall was also leveled. Over 100 horses on the property were killed, with several being flung into other buildings or into power lines. The wedge began to rip up the soil and vehicles were completely stripped down to their frame. Several buildings were now completely disintegrated down to their foundation as the tornado continued to track northeast. National Weather Service surveyors stated post-survey that the tornado was most likely well into EF5 strength at this point. The Moore tornado continued east through the property, the carnage only just beginning.
Oh my gosh.
All right, we gotta go. Go, 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 go.
The next in the line of fire was the Briarwood Elementary School, which suffered complete destruction. Students and teachers huddled inside as the building was torn apart, and the video taken inside is one of the most haunting you could ever hear.
It's almost over. It's all my fault. It's almost over. I hate this.
Honey, it's okay. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God, my house. Oh my God. Oh my God.
As the storm raged overhead, The roof of the building was struck by a 12,000-gallon water tank that originated from the Orr family farm, likely aiding in the building's collapse as steel girders on the roof severely bent and warped. The National Weather Service initially rated the school EF5 the following day, but the building was found to lack rebar reinforcement and secured roof I-beams by a study conducted by the American Meteorological Society, and it was subsequently downgraded to EF4. The tornado, now again at high-end EF4 intensity, began ravaging populated neighborhoods just west of downtown Moore. The Westmore subdivision suffered violent damage, with several well-built, anchor-bolted brick homes being completely leveled, the first instance of EF5 tornado damage being noted via 2 homes that were completely swept away, their foundations clean. The now violent wedge was just minutes away from entering the western city limits of Moore, leveling entire homes and debarking trees in its wake. The Plaza Towers Elementary School was next in line. The tornado slammed into the elementary school at EF4 intensity, tearing the building apart. With no safe room located inside the school, over 75 staff and children were forced to ride out the violent tornado inside as best as they could. Though unfortunately, 7 children were killed when a cinder block wall collapsed on top of them. In the weeks following the tornado, concerned and grieving parents demanded answers on why Briarwood, as well as a majority of Oklahoma schools, did not have tornado shelters. An investigation later discovered that the construction of the 3rd grade center was flawed, as rebar in the concrete was just not long enough. Several homes in the Plaza Towers neighborhood near the school were completely swept away and rated EF4. A woman sheltering in her closet was unfortunately killed a block away from the school as her home disintegrated around her. The tornado had been ongoing for at least 20 minutes and had continuously strengthened. Significant tornado damage continued as it closed in on I-35, a major interstate that led through the heart of Moore. Just prior to crossing the interstate, the tornado began to occlude, shifting as it passed just towards northwest, delivering a glancing blow to the Warren Theater. Typically, when a tornado occludes, it tends to separate itself from its main supporting updraft, but the Moore storm was different altogether. The updraft refused to weaken, and the tornado proceeded to do a full loop before continuing on its destructive track through Moore. This sudden, failed occlusion meant that homes already within the tornadic circulation were now subject to a prolonged period of violent winds, with 4 homes receiving EF5 damage in this area as the tornado looped over the neighborhood. It transitioned from a wedge shape into a large stovepipe, stretching its funnel and intensifying as the violent winds were forced to consolidate into a smaller, tighter area. A 7-Eleven gas station on the northern end of the path suffered complete destruction as the core of the tornado passed directly over. The 4 people that were sheltered inside would not survive. The Moore Medical Center, which would have been initially grazed, was now directly in the tornado's path. The tornado tore into the building, instantly ripping the roof off and piling dozens of mangled vehicles in front of the entrance, including one that originated from the neighborhood west of the interstate. Significant ground scouring occurred again as the violent tornado tore up grass and dirt, leaving bare soil, and homes were wiped completely off of their foundations. The Warren Theater avoided a direct hit, but still took significant damage. The tornado now began to jog northeast, continuing to level several businesses at EF4 intensity. A field was scoured down to bare soil, and EF5 damage occurred to a brick home on Hunter's Glen Court, being completely swept away. Only a bare foundation and anchor bolts were left. 2 vehicles on the property were lofted into the air, one of which found over 100 yards away from the residence. A pair of lockers originating from a hallway inside of the Highland East Junior High School is lofted into the air and slammed into the driveway of a nearby homeowner on South Ramblin' Oaks Drive as the tornado passes to the south by only 370 yards. The The tornado began noticeably shrinking in width, but not before another instance of EF5 damage occurred to a home at the corner of Heatherwood Drive and Southeast 5th Street. The home, well built with anchor bolts, was completely destroyed. Another home on Southeast Highway 37 was swept away also at EF5 intensity. Finally, after tracking 13 miles over the past 39 minutes, the Moore, Oklahoma EF5 tornado weakened rapidly and dissipated just east of Air Depot Road, just west of Lake Stanley Draper.
And it's really fizzling out, but it looks like it's roping out a little bit. Maybe just the east side of Air Depot Road. There it is. It's gone, Mike.
Downtown Moore was in chaos. Another violent tornado had just ripped through the heart of the city, laying waste to thousands of homes and businesses. Emergency management were quick on the scene and also quickly overwhelmed as EMS, fire, and police attempted to begin a significant search and rescue operation. This operation led several hours into the night, with the final death toll weeks later at 24 and 212 injured. 1,150 homes were destroyed, with damage estimates of over $2 billion. The 2013 Moore, Oklahoma tornado had left a lasting scar on the citizens of central Oklahoma and was another tragic example of the sheer violence of what Mother Nature can do, no matter the conditions.